So we're back then with another showcase video for Gotham Knights. Today we'll have a look at the full skill tree for Batgirl. We also get to see all of her outfits, and we have a selection of abilities that are available for her as well, and that does include the final ultimate ability that you unlock for her. Now before we dive in and start breaking this down, if you're enjoying the videos on the channel, there will be a lot more Gotham Knights content, so take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button if you want to show your support. But let's dive in, let's start breaking this down. We'll start off with the skill tree first. Each of the 4 different heroes then has access to 4 different skill trees, and there's 7 skills within each of these trees, so that's 28 skills in total. The first tree we look at for Batgirl is the Justice tree. This is the melee based tree, and the first skill we look at is Perfect Evade. So with this, Batgirl performs a perfectly timed evade that generates momentum and allows for a perfect attack follow up. We'll talk about momentum later on in the video. The next skill we have here is a pretty basic one. This is called Critical Expertise, and with this particular one it increases Batgirl's critical damage by 20%. The next skill we have here, this actually is an upgrade to a momentum ability we're going to look at later on in the video, but this is called Elite Beatdown. So when you're using this particular ability, Beatdown can't be interrupted by most enemy attacks, so you can't be staggered while using it and broken out your combo, which is fantastic, and Batgirl's defense increases by 20% while using that ability as well. This one looks like it's going to be a pretty awesome skill. We're back to another pretty basic skill for this next one. This is Heavyweight, so with this it increases Batgirl's heavy melee attack damage by 10% and stun elemental effect build up by 20%. Another basic skill here, and it's actually a bit disappointing to see as many as these within character kits, but this is called Precise Strikes. With this it increases Batgirl's chance of landing a critical hit by 10%. For the next skill here we have another upgrade to the Beatdown ability. This one is Piercing Beatdown. It states with this upgraded version of Beatdown can interrupt enemies' armoured attacks. Quite what an armoured attack is, I'm not quite sure, but essentially you can stagger the enemy and break them out of an animation. We finish up Batgirl's Justice tree here with sadly another pretty underwhelming skill. It's just a stat increase, this one once again, so it's Critical Focus. With this it increases Batgirl's chance of landing a critical hit by 10% and increases critical damage by 10% as well. But let's have a look at the next tree now. So this next tree here looks to be all about increasing Batgirl's survivability. We start off with HP+. This particular one increases Batgirl's base health by 40%. 40% is a huge amount, but it's just her base health. It says does not apply to bonus health provided by gear, so it all depends how high your base health actually is. We've got a bit of an Avengers style setup here, unfortunately, with how the stats look to be calculated, which could make them a little bit complicated. The next skill we have here is Enemy Counter Focus. With this one, Batgirl receives a 75% defense bonus when hit by an enemy counter attack, so that's a fair amount of survivability it looks like she can get from this tree. We then have another skill upgrade similar to one we've seen in the Justice tree that means she can't be staggered as easily. So this is Unflinching Heavy Strike, so most enemy attacks can interrupt Batgirl's heavy melee attacks. As a melee based character, this is really going to help her out, it means she's not going to be getting staggered as often. This next skill here looks to be really pretty awesome. It's going to be incredible in solo play. This is called Second Wind. So with this, Batgirl can revive herself once after her health is depleted, and it restores 50% of her health. So this really is pretty awesome. We then have an upgrade to the last skill we looked at. This is Second Wind Plus. With this particular one, Second Wind also grants Batgirl a full momentum segment that will allow you to use one of your momentum abilities and a 10% increased chance of landing a critical hit for 15 seconds. We then have yet another upgrade to the Second Wind ability. So this one is Vigilante Resolve, and it states Batgirl can now use Second Wind twice. Looking at this, it makes me actually question how and when you can use this, because on the first tooltip we looked at, there's no timer or anything like that. It doesn't say it only activates once every 10 minutes or something along the lines of that, so it may be particular to the stage you're in. So let's say you're in a level and you're fighting a boss, it will only activate twice if you've got this with this particular boss. It's not exactly clear. If anyone knows any more, then do let me know in the comments below. We finish up here with another pretty nice defensive skill. This one is Sense of Victory. So with this, Batgirl regains 4% health upon defeating an enemy, or 8% health upon defeating an enemy with a grab strike or a takedown. So this tree provides her with an absolute ton of survivability. Now let's have a look at the Oracle tree. So this tree here is an interesting one. It's all about using gadgets. We start off with remote hacking. So using AR mode, Batgirl can disable certain devices like cameras, turrets, mines, electronic panels and laser control modules. I imagine this will be really useful. It also states in AR mode you can tap the home button while aiming at a hackable electronic device. We then have an upgrade of sorts to the previous one. This is shocking devices, so Batgirl can overcharge an enemy's gun and or device, instantly applying a bioelectric elemental effect to the enemy. You must wait after cooldown to reuse this, and you'll use this by the AR system that we looked at in the previous skill, and rather than using it on a camera or a turret, something along the lines of that, you'll be using it on an enemy. We then have Digital Ghost. This is going to make any stealth sections a lot easier, so I'm a big fan of this one. With this, electronic devices such as sensors and cameras cannot detect Batgirl, so you'll be able to just walk straight past them. You won't have to creep round them or disable them, anything like that. The next skill we have here is Gear Overclock, and this one sounds pretty amazing in what it does. So Batgirl overclocks her abilities to deal 10% extra damage. She can also hack her allies' abilities to give them a 15% damage bonus for 20 seconds. I imagine there'll be some pretty amazing combinations you can get from using this. Once again, you'll use this via the AR mode. You'll just hold down the aim button and then you'll aim at an ally to activate it. The next skill we have here modifies what happens when you actually hack into a system. So this is Hacking Overload. With this one, Batgirl's hacking changes the function of security systems and makes electrical panels explode. We have another survivability based skill here, and it actually looks like out of the 4 characters that Batgirl may be the tank style character because she has so much defensive options in her kit, but this one is super health packs. With this, health packs provide an extra 20% health and grant a 50% defense increase for 10 seconds. Finishing up this tree here, we have Health Packs Plus. So with this one, health pack efficiency increased by 20%, which is decent enough, but this next part's pretty cool for solo play. Health packs now also affect allies close to Batgirl, so that's pretty awesome there. Let's have a look at the final tree. This is a Knighthood tree. So this tree here then, I believe it's actually at certain points during the game you unlock these individual skills. It's called the Knighthood tree because you are in effect looking to take over from Batman. So the first one we have here is always the traversal for the characters. I think you unlock this pretty early on in the game. It may even be after the tutorial stage. So this particular one, it's called Glide. So Batgirl uses her cape to glide through the air. She can adjust her pose to turn and gain or reduce her glide speed. We then have Grapple Pull, which is a great gap closing ability. So this one here, Batgirl uses her grapple to pull an enemy towards her. When used on a large enemy, Batgirl pulls herself towards enemy. It'll be good on smaller individual enemies. If they're all grouped together and there's a chance you're going to get hit, you can just pick them off by pulling them towards you. We then have Fear Takedown. So this one, ambush takedowns inflict fear in nearby enemies. Critical damage and critical chance increases by 15% for 10 seconds. I imagine an ambush takedown is probably one where the enemy's unaware, where you've essentially sneaked up on them. We have even more survivability within our kit here. This is Health Regen Plus. So with this, when outside of combat, Batgirl's health automatically regenerates up to 40%. We have an upgrade here to her drone. This is a momentum ability we're going to look at in just a moment. So this particular one, it's called Drone Ambush Blast. So once per summon, when you summon the drone, Batgirl's drone unleashes a large burst of damage on all nearby enemies. We have a further upgrade to the drone here, a pretty simple one. It's Drone Firepower, so this increases the firing rate of Batgirl's drone. We finish up this tree with Enhanced Combo. I think it's maybe the same for all heroes because I've seen it on Red Hood as well when looking at his kit, but for this one, it increases the number of attacks in Batgirl's melee and range attack combo by 1, and the last hit in that combo is a takedown. And this will work really nice alongside the fact she's going to be hard to stagger, so it'll be much easier to complete the full combo with her. But that is all the skills. Let's now look at some of her abilities. With your abilities then, you have 8 of these in total. You unlock them by completing certain challenges for your character. 7 of them, in order to use them, you have to build up momentum. You get that via fighting, and then the final one, you have the one that's in orange. This is your ultimate ability. You can only use it once every 5 minutes. But the first one we have here is Batarang Barrage. So with this particular one, Batgirl attacks all enemies with a storm of batarangs. You can see it's got some tags on it as well. It's got piercing and partial area of effect. We then have an ability we talked about earlier on in the video. This had various upgrades that are going to make it pretty amazing, I reckon. So this is called Beatdown. With this, Batgirl performs a series of quick strikes on a single enemy to deal massive damage. I imagine this will be particularly good on bosses. We have another melee based ability up next here. It's Elemental Strike. So Batgirl performs a heavy melee attack that deals massive elemental effect damage, and with this it's got guard break on it. So imagine this will be, we've seen certain enemies within the game that have got shields and so on. This will, if it doesn't break the shield, imagine it will at least break the guard so you can get some quick hits on the enemy. But let's check out the final ability here. So this final ability here, I mentioned earlier on in the video, the ultimate ability would have a cooldown of 5 minutes, but this one's actually got 6 minutes. Red Hood's was only 5 minutes, so either the cooldown differs or there'll be ways you can actually reduce the cooldown. But this is called Drone, and with this, Batgirl calls her drone, which heals allies and shoots at nearby enemies for a short period of time. You've got a duration of 30 seconds on that. If you can reduce the cooldown on it and you've got the 30-second duration, it would be nice to try and get a setup where you're looking for as high an uptime on this as you can get, because it's going to be healing you and it's going to be attacking enemies as well. It also says this is fear inducing, and bear in mind on the previous tree under the Knighthood skill tree we had some upgrades to this as well, one where it done a massive explosion and one where it shoots even quicker. But that's all the abilities. We're going to finish up now with a showcase of some of the outfits. It's 13 outfits in total we have. If this video has been helpful, then take the time to hit the like, share and subscribe button, and let me know what you think of Batgirl's kit in the comments below. And thanks for tuning in. Enjoy these outfits coming up, and I'll see you all again soon.